But in a situation where you find that a person look at the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
I have said that.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Is Daybreak on Trust Television. Now going into the dailies on Daybreak. We are joined by Stella Iyaji, Managing Editor, Daily Trust newspaper, to review some of the headlines. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
At least we have a female now, so.
What do you I would take that as a sexist comment.
No, it's not a sexist. You know, we're having males all through, so it's
Okay, so
nice to have a lady
balance,
here.
isn't it?
Yes.
Gender balance. Well, that's fine. All right, so we'll be taking a look at some of the papers, and we will begin with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And here we have some of the stories. The first one there, Khan honors Imam who saved Christians from attacks. Yeah, those are the kind of stories we should be getting. We should be seeing, on our pages, on the pages of our newspapers. The next one, flight delays worsening as passengers lament. You will also find infrastructure must grow by 5% annually to boost productivity. That's according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. The lead story on Daily Trust newspaper, terrorists attack military base in Sokoto, kill 15 personnel. And the writers there says 9 fleeing soldiers found in Nigerian village. District head swears with Quran over alleged involvement in banditry. And then you also have bandits regrouping in Isa forest, use camels to attack communities, locals. Below the pictorial there, you see the big picture there actually shows you Haitian migrants crossing the Rio Grande River at the Mexico-U.S. border. Quite a pathetic scene there, the desperation there that you can see, people trying to flee their countries of origin into other countries. Below that, you would find insecurity, 330,000 Nigerians seeking refuge in Chad, Niger, Cameroon. That's according to the federal government. Troops for Boko Haram attack on Yobe town. The Tigers beat Mali 70-59 for third straight AfroBasket title. And you also have media should run as business to serve its purpose. That's according to NPAN chairman. These are some of the major stories on the Daily Trust. Let's take a look at the other papers before we come to our reviewer.
Okay, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. Right at the top, we have federal government plans 3,964 Nigerians on watch list, suspends passports. We also have 330,000 Nigerian refugees in Chad, Niger, other countries. We also saw that on the Daily Trust newspaper. And we also have ASU meets next week over planned strike, laments government's inaction. And the big headline there says COVID-19 business looms. Inbound travelers bribe officials to evade tests. Experts warn of spike. And the rider says flight passengers bribe officials with 10,000, 15,000 to underpay, evade tests. We also have virologists knock officials, allege invaders responsible for high community transmission. We also have a Kwara man who allegedly buries 9-year-old with 1,000 note arrested. Interesting. ICPC arraigned 2 suspects for defrauding RCCG of 10 million overland. And beneath that, we have abductors free 10 more Baptist students, keep 11 victims alive. And below that, we have Nigeria will surmount current travails, emerge in victory, Adibwe. And right below that, Fashola, Akpabio disown groups promoting ministers' 2023 campaigns. Lagos clubhouse kick as 100 policemen, thugs demolish buildings, arrest workers. And in business, we have Forex crisis. Massive job losses looms. Profits shrink, say others. That's all we have on the point.
All right. We'll take a look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. The lead story says oil nears $80 with slim chances for more revenue due to theft. And you also find the riders there. Nigeria partly responsible for higher oil prices, yet can't break even. Sad and ironical, isn't it? Despite amnesty, 32 billion naira security costs, average loss to crew theft, vandalism surpasses 200,000 barrels per day. Operators can't make money, need newer security models. You also find below that the I don't see problem with implementing anti-grazing law, says Fayemi. You see the rider there. Nigeria's tax system problematic. Supreme Court to expedite action on the VAT. You'd see also country lacks fund to build economy, borrowing a necessity. Government need to manage finance responsibly. Rufai Akeredolu, altercations on open grazing needless. These are some of the stories you would find on The Guardian this morning. You can pick a copy. All right. Next paper.
Okay, let's take a look at the Daily Sun. Right at the top, we have Why I Shunned APGA Campaign Flag Off, Bianca Ojukwu. The big headline there says PDP leaders in dilemma over choice of chairman. And the writer says Sikh party elders intervention meeting ended in deadlock. Why zoning committees meeting ended in deadlock. And we also have PIA, Nigeria introduces 2% yearly increase on royalty. Inflation, FX scarcity trigger 140 billion outflow from Nigeria in 8 months. We have Nigeria suffering from leadership failure, says Wike. Expectations fears as CBN rolls out e-Naira October 1st. And we also have published names of suspected looters of 6 trillion naira NDDC funds, Serap tells Buhari. And we also have below that, experts fault federal government's 12 trillion oil subsidy claim. And the rider says site inefficiency in downstream power sections. And below that, APC mulls December for National Convention.
All right, finally, we'll take a look at the Nation newspaper. And the first story there, 60 held over mob, lynching of policeman in Lagos. You'd see also street begging, Al-Majri not Islamic, says Sultan. You'd find also below the nameplate, zoning tears PDP apart, Makinde, Anyimi lead opposing groups, stormy days ahead. VAT row, firms remit August returns to FIRS. And then you see also the pictorial showing you ahead of the 61st anniversary of Nigeria, the meeting of Khan and other Christian stakeholders there. You see Nigeria at 61 remains Africa's shining star. That's according to the Vice President Osibanjo. Well then, let's take a look. Let's go back to our daily trust. We have Stella Iyaji, like we told you, the managing editor, Daily Trust newspaper. Good morning again.
Good morning to you.
Now, quite interesting stories this morning that we are seeing. The lead story on the Daily Trust newspaper talks about terrorist attack, military base in Sokoto, killing 15 persons. But the one that got my attention most is that these terrorists are now regrouping in Issa local government, and they now use camels to attack people in their communities. Isn't that pathetic? It's funny, but pathetic at the same time.
And scary. It's scary because, no, the part that got me is the fact that the terrorist groups, you know, terrorists belonging to a particular leader and terrorists under another leader are now coming together. So that in itself is scary because you're now wondering if all the terrorists under several leaders come together, that's going to be a formidable force. I mean, that's not to scare Nigerians or anything, but it just tells you that we have a lot of work to do. It just tells you that maybe it's time we need to review the strategies that are on ground already. Now you say terrorists are now moving on camels. How is that even possible? How are they able to move from one place to the other without the security agencies seeing them or apprehending them? You know, because they move in groups. So of course, when you see a group of people on camera moving at the same time, naturally you'll be like, okay, where are they going to and who are these people? It's surprising.
And this, you know, this coming together of a thing, is this coming as a surprise to anybody? Because I mean, a lot of experts have said, look, these bandits operating in the northwest are not any different from the terrorists in the, you know, northeast and all of that. So does this validate all of that points?
Yes, but the thing is, it just tells you that what experts have been talking about, what they've been envisaging, is now here with us, that they have actually come together. Because yes, it is true that they have said the terrorists are the same ones acting as bandits. You know, they have said that several times. But even as terrorists, there were people under different leaders, you understand? Like this person has his own group, the other person has his own group, and sometimes they even fight each other. And when they fight each other, it's an opportunity for Nigerian security to, you know, decimate them. But a situation where the bandits are now coming together, I read that the bandits under two particular leaders came together to carry out this attack.
So are you saying Nigeria's security architecture is not doing what it's supposed to do?
I'm saying that a lot needs to be done. I'm saying that more needs to be done. For instance, this particular attack happened on Friday. Yes, they have shut down telecommunication service in that area. Maybe it's time to review it because it happened on Friday. Nobody got to hear about it until yesterday. Do you understand? Now, I also read in that same story that the bandits are using telecom service from Niger Republic. Do you understand? So they are beating us at our game. I mean, we are saying no telecommunication service in this particular area, but these people have been able to find their way around it, and they're now communicating. That the story said that they used telecommunication service from Niger Republic to talk to each other and come together to carry out this attack. You know, so maybe it's time.
But it seems like some of the policies introduced are yielding results, which is why we're seeing them resorting to the use of camels. For instance, this policy about, you know, you cannot buy fuel for up to 10,000 naira in some parts of the
jerrycans. You can no longer buy in jerrycans.
And jerrycans as well. And so they don't have fuel to be able to use vehicles and all of that. So using camels, I think, exposes them more and, you know, perhaps makes it much easier for the security forces.
But they were able to move. It makes it easier. But how were they able to move? Do you understand? What I'm saying is that it's true that so far we've recorded some success in that area following the recent shutdown and all of that. But I'm saying that they need to do more. For instance, somebody in that same story said that they need to provide means of communication among the security forces. They have, but it's not enough. They need to have more telephones, more Turaya, more access to communicate, because they are the ones that will be able to say, look, this is happening at this time, and then we need help, or we need to even call for help if the need arises. So I think that it's the current strategy is a step in the right direction, but I think more needs to be done. And in any case, any strategy you have, as you go into it, there's always a need to review and then find out, okay, which areas need to be amended, which areas need to be upped a bit so that you'll be able to get maximum results.
So from what we are seeing, Nigeria's military is already overstretched. How do we deal with this? At the moment, they can only manage maybe further recruitment. Maybe they need to recruit more, you understand? Because the truth of the matter is that what the Nigerian military is doing now is not really their duty. They're just forced to do it because the country is where it is at the moment. Only the police cannot handle it. So they have had to step in and carry out all this internal security and all of that. Ordinarily, it shouldn't be their function, you know. So maybe the only thing they will need to do is
additional personnel, but most importantly, equipment, technology. Because when you have adequate technology and you make best use of it, you may not need so much personnel anyway, because what 10 people will do, technology will provide it, and you'll be able to achieve better results.
All right, another story of interest that we saw on the Guardian, newspaper this morning is the lead story saying oil nears $80 with slim chances for more revenue due to theft. I mean, just when we have concluded on our budgeting for the year 2021 and we've made all the projections, the oil benchmarks, and then we are seeing that, look, there could be a problem, with the oil revenue itself. How far are we with this conversation about diversification of the economy? It's almost becoming like a cliche now, but it seems like not much have been achieved.
The truth of the matter is that anytime I hear that price of crude is going up, I panic, because it means that our revenue will drop, because we don't refine the product here. It therefore means that we're going to start bringing in this products. You understand? We bring them in, and the more I found out that the more the price of crude goes up in the international market, the more our revenue drops, because our refineries are not still working after how many years. And apart from the fact that our refineries are not working, the idea about diversification of the economy has become, like you said, a cliche. Every government comes in and says we need to diversify the economy and all of that. And then you see this initial push. Like when this present administration came in, there was efforts to, diversify the economy. You saw them moving towards agri, especially the area of rice production. But what came of that? After some time, everybody relaxed again, and then we're back to where we are. So I would not say that we've done so much in the area of diversification at all. In any case, Nigeria, the fastest way or the other best alternative for us in the area of diversification is agriculture. Now, how many people can really go to their farms? There's insecurity. People are actually running away from those farms because of insecurity. So that also puts a problem before us when we want to diversify the economy in that regard.
Now, Nigeria is doing so much, in spending a fortune on securing and maintaining its pipeline infrastructure in the country. How far are we with that?
That's because, Nigerians also, we are our own problems, because people still go to vandalize those things, you understand? And it is true. They spend a lot of money securing the pipelines because people will actually go and vandalize them. And this civil defense, they actually, one of the roles I know they play is securing these pipelines and all of that. But I do not think that they've been able to achieve maximum results, you understand? So you still find out that the vandalization continues, and of course we have to secure them, because that's the only way through which we get money in Nigeria, as it were. The pipelines, they have to be okay, because it is through oil that we get money in Nigeria, And that also brings you back to why we need to diversify the economy. Because if we had other ways of making money as a country, maybe people will not be holding us to ransom by saying, okay, fine, we're going to destroy the pipelines, and then when we destroy the because of that, you have to beg us, you have to pay for extra security for these pipelines. Because if attention is moved away a bit from oil and then to other sectors, we won't be held to ransom each time people decide to do stuff like that.
We'll be looking at some other stories on the Punch newspaper. There's a story there that got my attention while we're going through that paper. It's about ASU strike. ASU meets next week over planned strike, laments government's inaction. I mean, here we are again, after all the, ula baloo about, ASU strike, and it doesn't appear that the problem has been solved yet.
You see, the truth of the matter is that you may look at ASU. Now, I'm not an ASU apologist, but you may look at ASU and say they like going on strike. But then what is the underlying problem? You see, ASU, the association is made up of academics, So they know exactly what they want, and they know how to go about it. Now, they're not people that you don't tackle their problem using you can't apply a political solution to their problem. They are not people that a politician will come and say, look, I'm going to give you this, and then when you win the election, you don't give them and go away. No, when you're having a meeting with ASU, these are very intelligent people, serious people, they take notes. They know what you have promised to give them, and they're going to come for that thing. So it's either you don't want to give them, and then you tell them, look, what you're asking for is not possible. On that table where you're having that meeting, that's when you should tell them. Don't say, another thing the government does is that when a strike is lingering, students have been at home for a while, then I'll say, okay, let's just call them. Let's agree to whatever it is that they want, and then let them call off the strike, and then we'll deal with it later. That is why we keep having this thing. No, government should not do that. You sit down with them and promise what you can pay. That's what you should do. I know that it's possible that when you reach the initial agreement, between that time and now, the economy has nosedived, so much has gone wrong and everything. Maybe what you should do is sit with ASU, reach an agreement that is possible. Do not just say, okay, what government always does is, they think their payment day will not come. They just say, okay, let's agree, let's sign, and then let's disperse. Then ASU comes out tomorrow and say we've called off the strike. Government at that point does not have any intention of fulfilling its part of the bargain. And then ASU will wait 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and is not saying anything, and then they go back. Do you understand? So what I'm saying is that, I'm saying that ASU should, there should be a compromise. ASU should move from where they are. Government should move, but they should come to an agreement that is possible. If the initial agreement is no longer possible, maybe because of lack of funds, I mean, the COVID hit us bad and all of that, that is possible. Sit with these people, but don't make an agreement. They're not children. They're not people that you promise something and you not give them. Sit with them and tell them, okay, this is what we can pay. And as you're saying it, you have it in your mind that we have the money to pay. We intend to pay. Well, from everything that has happened with ASU, government reaches an agreement that is not ready to implement.
So we have ASU, we have the Association of Resident Doctors, now coming up. Why is this now a norm in Nigeria?
It's all from, okay, people are dissatisfied. I know that. But then again, a lot of other people are dissatisfied. But they are not holding you to an agreement that you didn't reach with them. They are holding you to an agreement that you reached with them. So the issue is, what was government thinking when it reached that agreement? Don't reach an agreement you don't want to implement or fulfill. You understand? Now, resident doctors are saying, give us this, give us that, and all of that. Government may think, okay, this strike has taken too long. Let's quickly reach. No, don't quickly reach an implementable agreement so that the strike will go and go. But you see what happens? They reach an agreement that is not possible. That even them, they know at that point that they cannot implement. But they use political solution. Just what they do to the electorate, I'll give you this, and then after they win the election, they disappear. No! That is what, like resident doctors, you know how many times they've gone on strike in the past how many years?
Okay.
And so,
now, following that, the resident doctor strike, the industrial court ordered them to resume, work. Is that a right approach?
No, I do not think so. People know their right as well. So you rushing to the court to get one judgment is not the solution, Meet with them and reach an agreement that is possible. Because, and as you're aware, in Nigeria today, you get this judgment from this court. People go to another court and get another judgment and all of that. You understand? On the same issue anyway. So I do not think that is the solution.
Let me just take you back to the issue of ASU. A lot of people say that, look, this request or demand by ASU is not feasible. So you talk about sitting down, reaching an agreement. We've seen these meetings happen severally, and most times we'll say it ends in a deadlock because there was no agreement, reached and all of that. Is the request by ASU too much? There are some experts who have said, look, tertiary institutions are not run the way we run them in Nigeria. It's not 100% government funding kind of an arrangement. So Where are we not getting it right as far as funding for our tertiary institutions are concerned?
Yeah, because for a long time, government was funding tertiary institutions, basically, or majorly, you understand? And I think we've not got to that place where we can, yes, they can get funding from other sources, but government is still the major funder of tertiary institutions. So that is why they run into problems when they are not able to meet certain obligations, you understand? And you said that, some people have said that ASU's demands are not realistic. Okay, let's imagine they are not realistic. Have they come to, what is government offering? You know, government can also look at what ASU is asking, tell them that, okay, what you are asking for is not realistic. This is what we can do. I know that, yes, they may get to a deadlock, the meeting may end in a deadlock, but if they continue, if they persist that, okay, this is what we can give, I'm sure at some point, ASU will shift. But what government does at times is, government will now bow to pressure and say, okay, fine, what you're asking for, I'm going to give you. And government will not give. ASU most times holds government to its agreements. It's not... most times, ASU comes to the table with, okay, this is what you agreed to give us. Do you know, there was a time ASU was having a meeting, and they were talking about an agreement that was reached like 6 years earlier. And I was thinking, why would you reach an agreement with someone 6 years earlier? You didn't even bother to implement till now. Which therefore means that at that time when you were reaching that agreement, you had no intention of fulfilling that, your part of the bargain.
So isn't it time, you know, for Nigerian tertiary institutions to find other means, you know, of funding, for instance, through research?
Yeah, they can do that. And I think some institutions have started doing that already, finding other means of funding and all of that. But it's a work in progress. It's going to take some time before they get to that point, you know, where they can actually, where the money they will need from government will not be so much. It's going to take a while.
Okay.
Well then, I think we've come to the end of our newspaper review for today. Thank you so much. We have been speaking with Stella Iyaji, Managing Editor, Daily Trust newspaper. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.
We hope to have you next time.
Looking forward to it.